For Mark Shalifo, a text from a wrong number didn't inspire that awkward twang in the gut we sometimes get when faced with a social situation we'd rather run away from. The funny man was always looking for a way to have a laugh, either with others or at their expense. So a misfired message was more of an opportunity than a gut clincher. But after one response to a wrong number didn't get the laugh he was looking for, he decided to go deep undercover and pull off an unforgettable prank. The group chat Mark below was added to in 2017 had a simple purpose: for the family to share meaningful moments in their lives. Via text, they sent special pictures or words of love and care. However, Mark wasn't a part of this family. He didn't even recognize a single number from the long list. At first, Mark Shalifo didn't respond to the text messages. He couldn't, as some sources indicate the comedian from Cincinnati was in the middle of a stand-up performance when his phone started lighting up. Backstage, when he looked at his phone, he scratched his head as he scrolled through the sweet messages and photos from the mystery family. Rather than being blunt about his mistaken inclusion in this family's intimate discussion, he wanted to be gentle about it. After someone shared a picture of an older woman with her grandson, Mark finally joined in, texting, "Looks like he's having a blast." He hoped, after no one recognized his number, he'd get kicked from the chat, but the response was rather surprising. The family was none the wiser and continued the conversation off Mark's comment like he was part of the family. No one in the family recognized his number, and each thinking they were the only one without that contact, they all wanted to avoid asking who this person was. So Mark stayed in the conversation. Mark continued to receive the text messages, and he couldn't help but feel as though he should have just texted wrong number in the first place. Of course, still wanting to get a laugh out of the moment, he tried one more time to let them off easy. In another exchange of messages within the group, Mark sent a more direct response. This was after another picture was sent in the chat, this time of a little boy happily playing with a new toy car. Among the responses, Mark replied, "I don't know that I should be a part of this, but I'm happy that kid got his car." The reply horribly backfired. Another family member gleefully replied, "Because you are family," cementing Mark into the group of strangers from that point onward. Whether he liked it or not, and whether they knew it or not, he was part of their family. This was further proven when Mark tried once again to out himself. The opportunity to remove himself from this family's group chat arrived when one member of the family texted a picture of her son. He was an active soldier overseas, and the photograph of him and his platoon gave Mark an idea. With one last text, he knew they would know he wasn't in the family. Mark tried yet again to make it clear that he did not belong. He asked, "Which one is Christian?" hoping the family would find the question odd and finally call out that they didn't recognize this phone number. Unfortunately, the very kind family pointed out their loved one to Mark, still unaware that he was a stranger. Mark was starting to give up on his great escape, but one text gave him an idea. The comedian in him kicked in, and he came up with a crazy plan to reveal the truth once and for all. The family wanted to send a care package to their beloved soldier Christian. They utilized the group chat to share information on how and where to send it all. Mark took to social media to bring his plan to fruition. Mark started off on Facebook sharing a post of his intentions to send a care package to Christian himself. A few of his friends joined in, ready to donate and help. Next, he had to figure out what he was going to send. Thankfully, strangers joined the conversation through a thread Mark created. Even though Mark knew nothing about Christian except that he was dedicated to his country as a soldier, the comedian decided to set up a GoFundMe page entitled Cookies for Christian. The plan would ship countless Oreos overseas and hopefully get Mark kicked out of the family's group messages. A lot of people pitched in to help raise money for his cause, which Mark really hadn't thought was all that important. It was more of a cute attention-grabbing gimmick move, but the small movement was recognized by a Girl Scouts troop, and they donated their cookies to the cause, along with heartfelt notes. Celebrity icon George Takei also shared Mark's story on his Facebook. Soon, donations rose well over the set goal of $1,000. In about 15 days, more than 100 people chipped in what they could. sharing messages of kindness and support for the small movement. Many retired soldiers joined in, thanking Mark for his act of kindness. Even as silly as it was, Christian was due for a ton of Oreos. By the end of 2020, the funds were around $1,600, which smashed the set goal of $1,000 and were used to pay for roughly 3,000 cookies. After figuring out the logistics of shipping the sweets, he sent the package and awaited a response. The most recent update on the GoFundMe page? Christian's response, which made all of Mark's efforts worthwhile. The whole platoon chowed down on cookies, and it was a relief for them to feel the love and appreciation from complete strangers. Note, like Mark, we also can't identify Christian. They were all so thankful. As for the extra $600, Mark saved the extra donations for a second shipment to the troops because, in the letter that Mark included with the first shipment, he asked if there was anything else in particular that the soldiers wanted or needed. Suggestions were shared, and Christian started taking notes for what would arrive in box number 2. Yet, lost in the charity was Mark's relationship with the family. In an interview with Daily Dot, Mark was asked if he would attend one of the family's weddings if asked in this group chat. His response? Of course not. He tried to say that his act wasn't all that exceptional, pointing to even greater deeds pulled off for soldiers in need, like Luis Ocampo,